All right. Today, I want to share with you a story that was something that I shared via the group email. I talked about how I was at the Temptations. Basically, it was a musical that I was at this past week, and it was a musical about the history of the Temptations. Right, and the Temptations were in Motown. They were brought out, and essentially a career was launched by Motown Records. If you don't know who Motown Records is Motown Records was they themselves have a very interesting and inspiring story about how they traveled essentially from a road where there was a lot of struggle initially, and how they just created this incredible signature company that brought in some of the best artists. And the reason that's impactful to me is, as I was there this week, I was reminded about a property that I had worked a few years back. This was a property that was uh, it was a gorgeous house, and as I worked this particular case and helped the heirs of this estate, I discovered that there are multiple properties, and that's often a very common denominator that you'll find in a lot of these probates, is that there isn't just one house, but rather there are various properties. And in this instance, that's exactly what had happened. But what also happened, that is a common theme here in the probate space, is that there are problems, right? There are some oftentimes big problems. And oftentimes these problems are very sad and very emotional challenges. And so what had happened here is that the deceased was had a very successful career with Motown Records, and she was really the right hand person to the CEO of the company, which was Barry Gordy, and really she made a lot of money, but she did not prepare her estate. As often happens, the average American household does not prepare their estate for their death, and as a result, the heirs are the ones that are left with a mess that they have to work through. And it's an expensive mess, but the worst part of that, I would say, is that the unethical people that tend to step into this space and look for somebody to take advantage of. And that's exactly what had happened here. This woman, actually had multiple rental properties that she had collected rent on, at least most of them. But the ones that she collected rent on, the checks weren't even cashed. She had, some pretty high net worth stocks laying around the house as if they were just scratch paper. There was a lot of valuables throughout the entire property, memorabilia to, Motown, and that was so impactful to me because I've always been a fan of Motown music, and but sitting there with somebody who is an heir to that, to part of that company, and seeing the struggle that even they go through, right? So I say that even they, because we would think that somebody who's pretty affluent, and money isn't necessarily an issue, would have their finances in order, right? Would have their estate in order, and would have their house in order. But that's not the case most of the time, right? There's so many instances that happens with celebrities even, right? You've got people like Prince and Michael Jackson, which are pretty big name celebrities. So now imagine what the average person has to go through, right? Or goes through. The average citizen has heirs, or they're heirs to estates of people that just were too busy to pay attention to these types of things, or maybe it was taboo talk that they didn't want to talk about, the that moment of death. And so this poor lady that had passed away had lived in a state of depression for some time. And that's another challenge that you'll see, is that a lot of these folks are often left and forgotten about. um, you know, I would say abandoned even. And it's sad that, family members show up after the fact, right? After this person has passed away, just to really kind of do this, put their hand out and collect. So you'll see a lot of that as well. I share these stories with you because these are real life problems that occur within our inherited real estate space and our probate space. And as much as we are here to make a good living, we are also here to provide a real valuable service to people. And that's how you should conduct yourself. And you'll find that if you do conduct yourself in that manner, that there will be many, many opportunities for you. And so in this particular case, I was able to help her, but it was a pretty complex case. And but that's how it goes. And so I wanted to share that story with you because as I was out there at this Temptations musical, it really stirred a lot of the memories. And I mentioned the other day that we are more than investors or real estate agents or brokers. I mean, we are sincerely, we are counselors most of the time, right? We are good listeners with 2 ears ready to listen, and hear what people have to share with you. And by being good listeners, we then can start to create different solutions, for these challenges that are going. And if you don't have the solution, there are other people that you can turn to within the community that can help you, such as myself and others within this Probate Fox family. So anyways, that was the story that I want to share with you. And so here we are at the end of the year. We've got Christmas is around the corner. So I'm excited about Christmas. Christmas is certainly a very happy holiday in my household, and I hope that it is for you as well. And then what's next, right? New Year's is here. So I won't be on a call, or I won't be doing a live stream next week. But I am excited about the exciting things that I have coming up in this coming year. So that's my share for today. And if you have any questions that you'd like to have me look at right now, I am available. So I'll spend a bit of time here waiting to see if there are any other questions. And stories, I've got many stories galore, by the way. I've got a lot of stories that I can share with you being out in the trenches. And there are some happy stories too, and there's some sad stories as well. But the happiest story, I would say, is the one that you get, that big, that big heartful of gratitude, right? This gratitude, this heart of gratitude that you get from the people that you serve. So how we market ourselves is important, especially today. If you've ever read that book, Who Moved My Cheese, you'll know what I'm talking about, that the cheese is always moving, right? And if you have not read that, go pick it up. It's a very small, very easy read. And essentially things are always changing and things are always moving. And we have to be, thoughtful, and we have to be aware of these changes that are going on in the marketplace. So I see one question here. So you're starting a marketing email campaign targeted towards attorneys. Is there a letter that I can use for that? Basically, if you are targeting an email campaign for attorneys, what I would recommend is that you kind of take a bit of a step back and you think very carefully about what you can provide, what you have to offer, and what it is that people need, right? So attorneys are busy. Attorneys are busy just like you are. And a lot of these attorneys will, especially today, because probate has gotten more popular, will get marketed, different services from either agents or real estate investors. Nothing wrong with that. But what you want to think about is how can you stand apart from everybody else and stand differently from everybody else. So that's one thing that you want to think about, how you first show up, and then what it is that you're providing. So if you are showing up on an email, it isn't necessarily the closest form of real warm rapport building, right? It's kind of a cold place. But it's a starting ground, right? And we all do what we can with whatever we have. I'm a big believer. You do whatever you can with whatever you have. And, so what I would recommend is if you want to go with an email campaign, what I would do is I would take a huge list of probate attorneys And you can do so by a couple of different ways. If you're already subscribed to Probate Leads, then you have all of the active attorneys that are filing probates each and every single day of the week, right? And you can take that list and go back 12 months, and now you've got a huge list. Or you could scrape the internet, right, for all of the active attorneys. You can go to Google and type in probate attorney for the county that you're interested, and all of a sudden you have a huge list. So you've got your list now. Now, what do you do with that list? Well, then, think about a headline that is a little different than everybody else, right? Always think about what's in it for them. What's that abbreviation? WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's what you have to think about, because that's exactly what your prospect, in this case, the attorney, is thinking about. What's in it for me? I mean, they're going to pick up an email and say, okay, next. I know that I get a lot of emails, and it's really difficult for me to, respond to each and every single person unless there's something that's really calling out at me, right? So it's not the easiest campaign to do a cold email blast, but it is a good place to start. So I would think about a headline that catches their attention. So if you're doing a in bulk, it's a little difficult to kind of customize it to each case, right? That's often what I like to do. I like to address people with the last name of the case that they are servicing. But in this case, think about something different. Think about I'm not sure if you are a real estate agent or if you're a real estate investor, but again, what is it that you have to offer? If you are a real estate agent, then maybe you can lead your subject line with something like, free property inspections for attorneys, right? And if you're a real estate investor, not too different, right? Free property evaluations for attorneys or free property inspections for attorneys. So something along those lines that catches their attention, because it's talking to what they need, to what their needs are. The second thing is the body of the email, right? So you want to get people's attention immediately in your first sentence, right? Not further down. So you want to have a pretty strong, clear, bold statement that you're making, right? So it's very important that you do that initially. And don't write a long letter, right? Make it sweet and simple. So it could be something along the lines of, I'm an investor. I would not even lead with the fact that you're an investor, but I would lead with the fact that you have free services specifically for the attorney community, and you work with probate attorneys in specific. You've got property inspections that your company makes available to them. Oftentimes, what happens is that these properties that are going through probate, they have a probate referee, AKA the probate appraiser, the court appraiser, going out to these properties and determining what the value of these properties are. But what they do is they oftentimes just do a simple drive-by, viewing of the property, or even more often, they'll just go to Zillow and look at what the value is, and that's a very misleading way of determining value of a property. So what I would recommend in that instance is letting them know that you have the ability to go to these properties. You can take pictures of these properties, and you can also create a list of all of the items that these properties have that need repairs. So think again in those ways and things that you can do. So that's something that I've done with attorneys that has helped me tremendously, as well as my group of students. Because again, you're putting yourself in the needs that they have. Now, oftentimes these properties will get an appraiser, that. If it's like, say, for example, California property, and it's a court confirmed case, and the appraiser has determined the value to be higher than what it really is because of the repairs that the property needs, then that property's not going to move. It's just going to sit there, right? And that's a problem. And so somebody needs to help the appraiser understand what the real value is. And so if you have a contractor on your team that can help you determine what the estimated cost of repairs are, that's helpful. Different data that can help these appraisers understand what the real value is, right? And that all kind of goes through your attorney. If you are strictly an investor, well then, yeah, think about some of the the pain points that they have and that they're going through, and how you can remedy those pain points, right? Obviously, you have the ability to buy these houses in today's market. Now, that's important, right? Because the market has shifted. We talked about who moved my cheese, and in today's market, you have the ability to purchase properties, which is big. It really is, because not everybody can buy a house today, right? A lot of the would-be buyers or in the marketplace have just exited the business. Um, I see a follow-up to that question, I believe. So somebody says that they are a real estate agent, and other than offering to sell the home, what other services should you be offering to the executors that would be beneficial to them? Oh, that really is a great question. So I'm going to read this question once more. The question is, I am a real estate agent. Other than offering to sell the home, what other services should I offer the executors that would be beneficial to them? So what else can you offer them? Oh, I love this question, because this is exactly the question that we should be asking ourselves. Oftentimes, what I have seen is that a lot of people kind of stay in one lane. If they are a real estate agent, they primarily only focus on listing properties, right? And if they are a real estate investor, they primarily only focus on purchasing properties. And I understand that, right? That is your main role. That is the one thing. And but in this particular industry, you don't want to think of yourself as just an agent or just a buyer, but you want to think of yourself as a real true service provider, right? And it's really about what these people need that you can bring help to. And so if you're a real estate agent, you want to think about buying these properties if they want to bypass an agent and go directly to the investor. You might say to yourself, well, I'm not a buyer. I'm actually just interested in listing a house. This is just not something that I'm interested in doing because it's going to take time and away from my focus, or whatever it may be. Great. But you should be lining up a good list of buyers that you have vetted and are comfortable, bringing to the table. These are people that can pay you a finder's fee outside of the traditional listing business. So I know that's a little out of the box, but I'll tell you that really is very, very important, because you've got to have different ways of servicing these people in today's market, and vice versa. If you're a real estate investor, now this is something that I've done for the last 20 years, right? I have purchased properties, and if I am not going to purchase a property, but the best way to service this client is to list that property, then my team will assign that to a specific real estate agent within our organization. And it works beautifully, because now this agent will go out and do this job of bringing the highest retail price to the seller, and that's what they're there for, right? And vice versa. There's ways that we can all share in the wealth together. Aside from that, other things that you can start thinking of are set yourself up with other people within the industry that could also provide a service. Who are they? Estate liquidation companies, right? So who are they? So these are companies that they have a dedicated service at going into these properties, and they will identify the value of all of the personal contents. And then they will go ahead and sell these properties, advertise. When I say properties, I mean personal properties, because there are two types of properties in probate. There is the real property, and that's everything that's real estate, including vacant land. And there is personal property, and those are all of the personal contents, right? All of the things that are not real estate. And so somebody has to do something with these properties. If there's anything of value, then they should be sold by a professional, right? And so these professionals are people that should be part of your team. And there are many. I would simply say you can go to Google and Google estate sale liquidation companies. I think there's oh my goodness, there's a website. I think it's estatesales.com that you can also go to, and there's a list of estate companies in every county of every state in the entire country. And these are people that you can go out and also, just like this other gentleman had mentioned about Vonnie had mentioned about targeting attorneys, you can also target estate liquidation companies. It's all about marketing. It's all about reaching out to as many people as you can and aligning yourself with them. And so these estate liquidation companies can also be a method of generating leads to you, but you also to them. And it is a reciprocal business. So estate liquidation companies is one that I would highly recommend. Who else? Okay, well, what about a handyman? This is something that when somebody wants to list a house, you can increase the value of the property without doing a significant amount of work, right? Like maybe tear out the old carpets, maybe sand the hardwood floors, maybe give a little fresh paint to the exterior or the interior. What about a hauling company? These are the companies that will come in and haul away all of the trash for you. These are very, very important and very necessary, especially if you're trying to bring a property to retail price. Now, let's say that you're a wholesaler. Can you negotiate to have some work done while the property is in escrow to get it to a condition that attracts buyers at a higher price? Yeah, you can do that as well. But again, we all have something that we lead with, whether you're an agent, an investor that's flipping, or an investor that's wholesaling. But at the end of the day, it's about what will serve this client to the best manner. So those are some ideas there for you. I would work on them and really seek some of these other industry professionals. Attorneys, by the way, are also industry professionals. I taught a class on how you can target attorneys that are not probate or estate planning attorneys. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about targeting an attorney that's not a probate or estate planning attorney? You might think, well, why would I ever do that, right? They're not going to work with folks that are going through probate. But there is a method to my madness in that philosophy, and it's something that worked really, really well for me. And I taught a class around that, so I might maybe bring that class back out. I'm just kind of thinking about this as we're talking live. But the method to that is that you are reaching out to other industry professionals in the legal field that are not probate, but they themselves might have relationships, associations with attorneys that are probate attorneys, right? And if you are dealing with other services that other attorneys provide, such as divorce, right? Bankruptcy, that's an important one today. These attorneys are attorneys that you should also be developing relationships with and that you can refer your clients to. But again, vice versa, you want something from them as well. You want them to refer you somebody that they know that happens to be a probate attorney. It's a colleague of theirs, right? Same industry. They're both licensed attorneys, and can they refer you a probate attorney? And that's worked well because then that's a warm introduction. But everything is about putting your prospect first in front of you and thinking about how you can bring value to them. Things that I have done with attorneys over the years that has helped me really, really well is to create some workshops. And so with these workshops, I'll rent, say, for example, a coffee shop space, and I'll run some ads, and these are very local ads, even bulletin board ads where there will be a free presentation on estate planning, right? And so, the community at large has an invitation to come in on, such and such date and time to listen on how to protect their estate and have their heirs not have to go through probate, right? As a real estate professional that you are, you've seen how challenging it is for families when they have to go through probate, and so you're bringing an attorney that you have developed a relationship with, and they are going to do a presentation. And what does that do? That does two very important things. One, it serves a community, right? Because people should protect their estates. I told you about this story with Motown, and it's a shame. It happens every single day, and so people should be informed that you don't have to go through that, right? Their family doesn't have to go through that. So that's a huge service to your community. But second, it is also helping your attorney in that you're generating business for that attorney, right? Not for you, but for that attorney, because now this attorney is creating a database of prospective folks that will need their service. And what does that do? that really elevates your position in their eyes, right? And it's essentially a partnership, right? So I like to do that. I like to think of ways that I can help the people that I want that I want business from. You know, putting them first, and then you'll find that people will reciprocate that, right? And it's something that you build on, right? It just doesn't happen overnight. This is something that you kind of put together a plan of action, and you go to it, right? And you'll find that it will transform your business. You know, marketing and prospecting on a day-to-day basis is important to the folks that are in probate, but if you can also start to plant seeds for future business with industry leaders such as these attorneys, um, that's fantastic. Another source, by the way, is a financial planner. Financial planners are a very important part of this industry as well, because sadly, folks that inherit real estate, it's like they inherit a lotto ticket, right? They just struck, you know, the big lotto winner, where they're going to essentially have access to a lot of money that they did not have access to prior. And what happens is that when somebody that is not accustomed to managing a large sum of money, um, they will misuse it and they will lose it. And oftentimes it's lost because every, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry in the family says, "Hey, I need this. I need a new car. I need a new this. I need that." And there are needs. I get it, but money should be managed so that it can grow and that it can have a stronger impact on the family. Otherwise, it'll be gone as fast as it came. And so financial planners are a very, very important part of this. And again, it's a reciprocal business. So those are some of the folks that can help you. I love that question. I really appreciate that. That was a really well thought out question, and as well as our earlier question with the attorney campaigns via email. So those are some thoughts that I have there, and I really, as I said before, I really wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and I'm looking forward to the new year. I don't believe that I will be here next week, unless I do some surprise visit. But otherwise, if I don't see you guys next week then I want to wish you a happy new year as well. And I'm excited, you know, for all the good things, right? We always have to be, always want to be optimistic. I hope you guys are putting some plans together to think about what your future is going to look like in this business and in this industry. All the people that you're going to help that are inheriting real estate and that really sincerely need your help, right? This business isn't for everybody. There are many people that this business is just not suited for them because they don't have the servant's heart, nor do they have the patience, right, to work with people. Some people just kind of want business, just instant gratification sort of mentality, and it's we do want things faster, but we have to be patient, right? We have to be willing to wait to get that outcome, and so start thinking about that. And if you haven't, I really would start thinking about those goals and planning. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see you all in the new year.